Okay, I should be live. Cool. We're working on achievements. Let's go ahead and just get right into it. So, this is more or less like a baseline achievement icon, just to sort of revise it a bit. So typically I make it in 128 by 128, and then I export it by like 2 times. So using this as like a baseline. So with that in mind, just do this. So I reckon I'm just gonna do it in like chronological order. Like just in order of when I've created it. So the first thing I want to open is the cherry blossom. So if I open this, okay. Okay, only problem with this is that this is not the PNG. Hang on. Okay, now we have the PNG. This is a lot more useful. So now we can go over here. Okay, so this is a little bit of an issue. We could just leave it as is. But currently, it's just very small. So I'm wondering, like, how I should deal with this. I could, like, blow it up 2 times, but I don't know. It doesn't really fit nicely into any space. Hello, Zell. Good to see you. Hope you're well. So I reckon what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just have this 256 to begin with. Then I'll scale this up by 3 times instead. So that can be like decently big without being, yeah, without being like too big or small, I guess. Unfortunately, this is going to be a little bit asymmetrical, but oh well. Right now, just trying to space these somewhat evenly. This should be correct now. Okay. So then I can make sort of the outline. So this should actually be 2 by 2. Since I'm already walking in like an upscaled ratio. So I believe the first thing we should do is make the unachieved version, which those look kind of like this. So yeah, it's basically like 1 pixel, 2 pixels, 1 pixel, with like this gray. And the background is just, don't need that anymore. Background is just this gray. Then everything else gets blacked out. So we can duplicate this just to make life a bit easier. Just darken everything. There we go, that should work as like an unachieved sprite. Okay. Cool. So we can quickly save this. So we can quickly export this. Okay, so that unachieved icon is done. So now we go back and do for if it is achieved. So I believe like purple or like a pinkish purple could be good here. I'm gonna go back and look at some of my more recently added achievements. One moment. Yeah, I think that should be fine. Having it like this sort of pinkish purple. Kind of like the idea of just going full out with like this sort of color. That does look pretty nice. Maybe that, but like a bit more red. Hmm. I think something like this. Hmm. Oh, that's a bit too dull. I do like this. This is pretty good. I'm just trying to think. What I'd normally do is that I'd add sort of like a gradient circle. So if I create a new layer, normally I'd do something a little bit like this. Just make it pop out a bit. And I quite like that for this, actually. I think I may just stick with that. Although maybe we can do something a little bit lighter. I think that's fine. Yeah, I think this is actually good for the cherry blossom sprite. Then we need to export this as just cherry blossom. Okay, so that's one done. Alright, next one we need to do is the banana. Not that banana. This one. Okay. So this sort of has the opposite problem, where this is a bit too big. I'm not exactly sure I can fit this into a standard achievement icon. But damn it, I'll try. Maybe... Hmm... Because... So this doesn't leave enough space for the border still. I may actually have to, like, downscale this a little bit. What if we just knocked, like, 25% off of it? It doesn't look good, though. That's the problem. Hmm. Okay, what if I knocked... Hmm. I've chosen, like, a really inconvenient size for this sprite. Okay, what looks, like, decent? Okay, you know what I may actually have to do? What if I enable... I may have to downscale this in something with anti-aliasing. That might be what has to happen here. Is that an option? Okay, so we can have bilinear anti-aliasing. Which obviously that leaves it a bit blurry, but it's probably better than the alternative of just downscaling it and correcting it manually. We'll just have to deal with it. So I guess first I want to just check the sides. That's 39 on that side, 41. So I need to move the server 1 pixel to the left. Whoop. Not that. Oh, so I just realized Spotify isn't showing. There we go. Okay, so it's 40 on both sides. 35 that way. 39. So I need to move it 2 down. So that should be good, I believe. So then we make the border. Before that, I do just want to save this out, just to make sure I have it. Oh, hang on. Need to save it as an Sprite file. Okay. Should be all done. Yep. Count out 2 from the border. Let's quickly copy over this gray. Add a background. Oh. Need to copy this again. Gonna duplicate this. Then we need to painstakingly go through and convert all of this to... Actually, you know, there's a better way to do this, I believe. If I go to adjustments, I can just... There we go. Just nuke the brightness. That works. That should work as our unachieved sprite. Gonna export that. Quickly drink water. So with that done, we can now do this. The actual sprite. So I think a green background would be good for this. Just to sort of give it that planty look. Just go ahead and do that. Although I'm wondering if I should go for like a more lime green. That might be a bit too overbearing. So then I can do the circle effect from Alia. Like that kind of looks okay. Maybe if I turned it up to like a more yellow, that would look good. That might be a bit too bright. Okay, I'm gonna have to mess with the the hue and all that. Yeah, this makes it a bit too bright. That's obviously saturation. So I think we'd be looking at turning down the luminescence. Like, I think this is fine. Actually, what could be nice here, what if we did this in like multiple iterations, sort of? What if we started with the more like bluish green? And here we can do more of like a green, like a greeny green. Although obviously like this isn't quite bright enough. So I may have to like expand this out a little bit. Like what if we just went really wild with it? So we could bring this out like to here. Sort of have that level. Okay, and then we can go to more of like a yellow. This won't look great here. Once I enable this. That looks a little better. Yeah, I think that's alright. What if maybe disable these? Go a little bit more blue? Like a little bit more dark? More saturated? Yeah, I think it looks fine. So let me just reduce this back to 256 by 256. That seems to be good. Then we can save that and export. Yep. So I think that's fine. Although maybe we could make this a bit darker. Might be a bit over. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is fine. Actually, yeah, I think it's fine. Okay. I'll stop obsessing over this specific achievement icon. So, the next sprite we'd have to do is the cloud. trying to find the image. Here we go. So we have this cloud, which, by the way, this cloud is also way too big to fit into into an achievement icon. So we're gonna have to scale this down a lot as well. Okay, hang on. This didn't quite scale the way it should, because we're looking at the actual file. We need the PNG. Whoop. Or 50%. Yeah, there we go. I got rid of that, like, weird edge that it had to it. So now we can expand this out. Can add the border as usual. Very standard procedure. We just darken. There we go. I forgot to save it as an Sprite file again. Wonderful. Okay, so that should be good to go. Then we export this as the unachieved version. Now here I'm thinking, of course, like a more sky colored background. Although I guess another thing we'd have to do here is separate out like the droplets as well. Although I am wondering, like I already have an achievement for getting hit by water droplets. So I think maybe I should just have them as part of like the same achievement. I think that makes sense to me. Well, anyway. Oh. So maybe like a darker sky color? We could even have sort of an effect where it has a bit of a different gradient. So instead of having the radial gradient, we can have something a bit more like this. We can have like a further highlight. I think that's cool. I like that. Close out some of these other achievements. Then we export the proper cloud thing. The proper achievement icon. Like that. Okay, so the last near achievement to do would be the fruit. So this. Although I do want to quickly check something in Game Maker. So essentially, the way that I have the color randomization set up makes it so that I'm not sure if this red color actually does appear as a bullet. Or at least not exactly. So I'd like to get the exact color, if at all possible. Actually, in fact, I have a better way to do this. So I recently went through and got a bunch more of the screenshots. So this is the exact red that gets shown in game. So yeah. This is the exact red that we need. As specifically 30 in the blue channel. Wonderful. Life-changing, even. I'm gonna delete this, we're gonna merge it. I'm gonna save this out as something different. So the good thing about this sprite is that we don't need to really resize it at all. Or at least not downscale it. Like, we can kind of just straight up increase this by 300%. That should leave. Okay, that might be a bit big. We can scale it up by 200% instead. That seems more reasonable. And now we just need this to be 1 by 1 instead. Yep. Although I am wondering what background I should give this. Like, obviously, for now, we can just put in the background for it being unachieved. So, like that. Seems good. A bit more water. Okay, so we have that finished. Alright. Oh, hello, Anna Jinx. Good to see you. And I hope you're well. So I need to figure out what background I'm going to use for this achievement icon. Bear with me for a second. Just got back from watching Godzilla x King Kong with your dad. Oh, nice. Hope that was good. I'm not really a movie person, like, personally, so I wouldn't really know anything about that, but still, I hope that was enjoyable. Yeah. You love watching monsters fight? That's fair, yeah. No, it sounds cool, for sure. Yeah. So I have a color that I want to use for this now. So this is kind of copied directly from the palette of I want to be the guy, but yeah, I think that's fine. Is that a cherry bomb? It is not a cherry bomb. It's so essentially it's based off of if I like quickly copy this image over, it's essentially a reference to I want to be the guy. So it's like I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's like a very classic like platformer. It's sort of one of the original quote unquote rage games. Um, but no, I thought I'd pay tribute to it because it's I don't know. I've played some fan games of this. Yeah, so they're kind of like apples. They're called delicious fruit in game, but yeah, they're essentially like apples. So yeah, so I'm kind of just copying over the colors of the trees from here to use as the background. I think that's sort of a cool thing to do. Okay. So it should be fine to export. Although I want to export it at 200%. I do also want to quickly double check that this is distinguished enough from the banana achievement. I think the colors are different enough. So yeah, we have this one, which is more of like a dark green. And then this is more saturated. Lively. Close this out. Yeah, it's kind of thematic, exactly. So with that, that should be all of the new attacks or new bullet patterns. Like all the achievements for them. But I want to go back and retroactively add in some new ones as well. Because essentially, I have not been good at keeping up with adding achievements for every bullet. So I'm gonna go quickly see what I've forgotten. So we should be able to go back to Game Maker. I can essentially just run it as is. I don't need to make any changes. Basically just want to play through and just see what there isn't an achievement for yet. Yeah, and you'll also be able to see exactly. Okay, should be loading in a second. The fast compile always takes quite a bit of time. So this is sort of what I was talking about before with like the sort of like the loose ends I was trying to tie up. So I got like the practice mode screenshots for all of these. Like this attack is now finished, which I am realizing there is double music. Hang on. Turn that off. Like watching me go through the levels that I make looks so easy. Yeah. I mean, you kind of start to get good at your own game once you've played it like a bajillion times. So yeah. But like the other thing I did as well is that I added sounds to this attack. So I may need to quickly stop Spotify just to make it a bit more obvious. Alright, just for a second. Like, the higher up you go, the more loud it will be, like the little raining sort of sound. So yeah, that's like a gust of wind initially, and then it does that. Anyway, I will restart Spotify. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So other than that, what else do I not have yet? So do I have an achievement for getting hit by an icicle? I wonder. I don't think I do. I'll quickly double check just looking on Steam. Okay, no, so I actually don't have... I don't have one for that. So let's make achievement icon for icicles. Which I think this is... Whoop. I need to hide Game Maker, I realize. There we go. So I think if we just expand this out to 256 by 256, it should already be a good size for an achievement icon. Yeah. But for some reason the colors are a bit weirdly organized here. Oh, actually, I think I know why that is. I need to, like, reload the default. There we go. Anyway. Add 2. Oh, what is this? Oh, that's like the hitbox for it. Right, okay. So then we add a new layer. Sort of do this. Yeah, the hitbox thing looks a bit strange. Because essentially, like what I do for it is because it needs like precise collision, I try to like reduce the amount of pixels that are in it. So yeah, it ends up looking kind of like this sort of grid pattern. Then of course like the outline. So right, then we need to take the gray from this. That's smart, maybe. So the funny thing is that I haven't actually looked into if that does anything good for it. I think it reduces the amount of pixels it needs to check. But the thing is, I don't know if Game Maker already has like a way of trying to optimize that. So really, I could be completely wrong. It's purely just what makes sense to me, which might not be what's actually happening. So, but oh well. Oh, so we need to duplicate this. We can save this out. choose to believe. Well, I'm glad you believe in my logic. Even if I'm not necessarily even sure that I can sometimes. But yeah. Okay, so we have more bright outline. Can bring that back in. So I think this should be like a more saturated blue. Just in my opinion. Have this more cyan color, I guess. The background for like the sort of radial lighting. Yeah, that's a bit too off. No, I think this might be better if I do like a different kind of gradient. What if I went for like dark instead? So if I take this, brighten this up a bit. I'm realizing I did this on the wrong layer too, but easy fix for that. We just delete the old one. we delete the old background layer and just pretend it doesn't exist. So then we can do more of like this sort of a color. I think that's pretty nice. Yeah. So I think I like this. Although maybe we make this a bit more on the brighter side again. I kind of like that contrast a little better. So we can save this, export this. Yep. I did export the unachieved version, right? I think I didn't. That sucks. Let me just double check. Yep, I completely forgot to export the unachieved version, so I'm gonna need to quickly remake that. Yeah, it seems more icy when it's like this, exactly. Like, I don't know, it almost gives a sort of like cave effect, which is nice since, you know, icicles grow on like ceilings. So, let's just quickly redo this. I understand the way that I have sort of chosen to make the unachieved sprites is kind of unoptimized. Like, I don't even save them separately. But, oh well. So, now we should have both. Okay. Crisis averted. Cave is exactly what you were thinking of. Yeah, exactly. I'm glad we were on the same wavelength there. Very much what I was going for. Okay. So next course of action, we go back and we find the next thing that doesn't have an achievement yet. So if we go in more chronological order, I believe confetti already has a sprite, already has an achievement. Yeah, okay, so I just saw the achievement on my end. Stormy clouds. So I'm actually not gonna do like a different thing for the stormy clouds. I'm just gonna have them both under like the cloud achievement. Oh yeah, and another thing I did that I didn't even mention is I did a different sprite for the raindrops as well. Yeah. Alright. Get out of that. So I believe wrenches doesn't actually have an achievement yet either. Yeah. Have to make a wrench icon. Yeah, they have the droplet shape. Exactly. Alright, hang on. Quickly reopen some stuff. I have the wrench saved. It's here. Okay. Our only problem with this is that it doesn't fit into 256 by 256, which is sort of the maximum that Steam allows for achievement icons. So I'm either going to need to downscale this slightly, or quite possibly, like, what I could do is I could put it just slightly off, like that. So if instead, like, just to sort of showcase what this could look like. Oh. So then we'd have, if we put the border on this, we'd sort of have that. But I don't know if I necessarily like that. It's kind of weird to me. I'm also now realizing that this wrench isn't even straight. That's really odd. Wow. I can't believe I never realized that. Dumb idea, but imagine you could make a really low RNG chance of a golden wrench spawning. So the funny thing is, you bring that up, I actually already have something a bit like that. Although it's with ghosts instead. So if I go here. So normally this is what this attack looks like. These ghosts. But there is a 1 in 7 chance of getting one that is a bit different. So just gonna see if I can quickly get that. Hang on. I'm just gonna spawn targets until I get it. It should be a 1 in 7. I'm getting really unlucky though. Here we go. So there's a rare chance of getting these instead. Which are like lucky cats. Yeah. And the cool thing about them is that if you get them in the actual like game, like not in practice mode, they'll drop points. Or actually they still do, I didn't realize. But you can see that they drop points. I think they still do, it just doesn't actually give you the points. But yeah, they're pretty cool. It's just a fun little thing that I put in there as like a bonus. Yeah. You love it? I'm glad to hear. Yeah, so... And there is also like a separate achievement for that as well. So I can like... bring this up. So yeah, this is the achievement icon for that. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. Anyway, back to this, I suppose. So yeah, I think I may just have to like downscale this a bit. It's probably the more elegant solution. Let's see if we downscale this by like... downscale it to like 90%. Just like slightly smaller. Then we increase this back to 256. And this could probably work. Okay. Alternate solution. What if I like rotated it? I feel like rotating it is actually fine. Although I am gonna... So the only problem with rotating it is that we can't do anti-aliasing and rotation. So that's a bit sketchy. So we'd have to be very careful about the way the lines look. Like that kind of looks okay, but then create some like weird edges like that. Kind of have to go back and mess with these manually. But then it looks kind of weird. Okay, we'll undo the rotation on that. So I guess there is no way to rotate this and have anti-aliasing. At least not an A sprite. So I guess for now I will just have to go with downscaling it. Which of course looks kind of shitty when like zoomed up, but you know, considering that the icon itself is only meant to be like this big anyway, it usually looks fine. Like even when downscaled like that. So just gonna quickly drink water. So we can go and add the border as usual. So yeah. This. Need to go here, copy this. So I want to make sure I save this out as something different. So then duplicate, hide that. Oh. Turn down the brightness. Just export that. There we go. So I'm trying to think what background I'd even have for this. Because obviously gray would go with the more like metallic sort of aesthetic, but then the issue with that is that we already use gray for the unachieved icons. So maybe we just make it a lighter gray and call it a day. Like just something like that. Maybe we could even add some like metallic shining to it. I don't know. So if we go like 5 here. We could add some of like these sort of things. Gonna have to trust the process a bit here as well. Like I've done Done stuff like this before. You're gonna be living the Bob the Builder life when you get that achievement someday. I mean, fair enough, yeah. Like, Steam does allow you to display pretty much any achievement that you get from any game. And I think that is something kind of cool about putting, like, so many different things in my game. Is that it does mean that people can just, like, take whatever random things they want, just put it in their profile if they so desire. I think that's pretty cool. I believe I should probably copy these to a different layer. Like that. We can do this. Just so that we can adjust these separately. Actually, if we do this, then we reverse this. We got some, like, extra thin. Like, sort of like this. Hang on. You're losing your mind. You offered your dad a sip of your chocolate milk. He gulped it all. Oh my god. Classic. Nah, I totally got that. Yeah. Oof. Being bullied. Yeah, I also kind of have, like, a weird dad, to be honest. I know it's probably, like, a strange thing to say, but no, I definitely feel your pain to a degree. Sometimes dads are weird, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I gotcha. Kind of really like this specific adjustment of this. I actually really like this background. As I said, I did kind of need to trust the process a bit. It wasn't looking too great at first, but I wonder what would happen if I, like, duplicated this, then, like, shifted it slightly. Ooh, that's actually really cool. If I move it, it almost looks like animated. That's Cool. Only problem is that it cuts off at some point, so... And I think this is fine, kinda. Never mind. Okay, I may just have to not do that. I think this is good enough. Think it looks pretty good? Yeah, I think it's fine. Especially from like a distance. I don't think it'll be a major issue. It's like... really, like, people are only gonna see it in like this sort of size. You're not blown away by it. It is what it is. It looks reasonable. You know, I'll take reasonable, honestly. Okay. I think I'll probably do, like, one more. If I go... back to here. So I already have one for horses. UFOs I already have one for. Do I have one for leaves? That's the wrench achievement. Cool, yeah. Yeah, so these don't have an achievement yet. Okay. Can quickly pull that up. Now, only problem that we might have is that I'm actually gonna need to go and get a new screenshot for it. Because I don't have a leaf that is colored. Because in order to get Game Maker to recolor these dynamically, I need it to be white. So, we'll just need to see if I can get better leaf color. I think it would be nice to have them be, like, more orange. Just to give sort of, like, a fall sort of vibe. I'm gonna just do this until it... like, I think that's sort of the orange color. Okay, got a screenshot of that. Need to quickly load this. Won't be able to show this for a little bit. Okay. Now I can show a sprite. So basically, if we copy this over, flip it. So yeah, that's like a colored leaf. The leaf is cute. Well, I'm glad you think so. Yeah, I don't know. I almost wish I could make it into like a maple leaf or something. Just like a thought. But for now, we'll just do this as normal. It's kind of dead looking. I guess it does make sense for it to be kind of dead looking though if it's like falling leaves. So whatever, I'll just deal with it for now. Whoops. Need to not anti-alias it. Go 128. Now, actually, what could be even cooler? What if we just left it as is? And then we just have multiple of them? That could be nice. Gonna delete this layer as well. Copy that. This. Copy that. Okay, I'm realizing I made the border too big. Need to reduce this. Okay, there we go. So if we take that away for just a second, can add just a couple more copies. I think that's like fair enough. Yeah, I'm okay with this. Can like duplicate that. Darken all of them. Okay. Should be good. The leaf party. It is kind of a leaf party, yeah. There do be 5 of them. like expand this. So I'm thinking for the background for this one, we just give it like a very autumn sort of vibe. I'm almost even thinking like dark red. And then we go into like an orange gradient. Like we sort of do this. And then on top of that, we can have an even stronger yellow. That's kind of okay. Okay, hang on. Backup idea. What if we leave this sort of linear gradient, but then for this one, we do a radial gradient instead? So we have like both. That's almost interesting in its own way. Hmm. What if we made this a bit more transparent? No. You like it? Autumn is your favorite season? Yeah. Just trying to look at my options. More orange red? Yeah. Okay. I think part of it that could help would be to make this a little brighter. I may have to actually, like, reverse this for what I'm going for. So let's say I make this sort of the background. Then we copy that. And for this gradient, delete it, and then we redo it from the bottom. We do like that. I think that's a little better. So then, what I wanted to do with the radial gradient from before. There we go. Yeah, I wanted to give it almost sort of like a sunset effect. Which I think that's pretty cool. So if I... Let's say I move both of these down a little bit. Yeah, I think that's pretty nice. Yeah. Go ahead and sort of export that as is. Yeah. I still do think the leaves look a bit dead. like a bit too dead. I don't really like, but I'll see if I can mess with that a bit later. So that should be everything I wanted to do for now. I'll have to like go back and look at like all of the bullets that need like achievements. I think for now I've sort of had my fill, but yeah, I really need to just compile a list for a bit like easier reference. So yeah, unfortunately I do have places to be, so I will be ending stream. So thank you for watching. I'll be streaming tomorrow, it should be. So since I stream every like Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday, like same time every day, like 1 a.m. GST or GMT. Yeah, GMT. 1 a.m. GMT. Basically like the central time zone. That's +0. So, in terms of who we are rating, so I could raid One Leaf again. Try to be consistent on yours, but you don't know what time you'll be streaming tomorrow. Thanks to your dad visiting. Ah, yeah. Yeah, I mean that's fair enough. If you have like family that you want to hang out with, then I suppose that's more important. Yeah. It's like, yeah, I don't know if you have anyone in particular that you're planning to like jump to. But if you don't, we could go raid One Leaf again. Um, let me just see. You're gonna watch Emmy Lime VT? All right, bet. I will send you over there. Yeah, thank you for watching. I'll be back tomorrow.